Welcome to Real Estate 360, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Tom K. Wilson, provides you with insight and guidance from his years of experience as a successful real estate entrepreneur on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate, and much more. Now, here's your host for Real Estate 360, Tom K. Wilson.
Welcome to the program today. Thanks for tuning in to our Real Estate 360 program, your number one source of all your real estate needs and education. We're broadcasting from the number one business radio station in the San Francisco Bay Area, KDOW AM 1220, the Wall Street Business Network. I'm Tom Wilson, your host for the Wednesday edition of Real Estate 360 that comes to you daily, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m., along with my co-hosts Joe Cachera and Laurie Graymont. Tune in each day for different guests, different topics on real estate, market, education, all the information that you need to know to make good real estate decisions. If you can't make the live show, you can catch our podcast on RE360radio.com and catch my programs on TomWilsonProperties.com or on iTunes. And if you go to TomWilsonProperties.com, we have a 1-minute read weekly economics newsletter that summarizes what's going on in the world of economics as it relates to real estate. So you're welcome to sign up to that. We also have, since Wilson Investment Properties is a company that provides high-quality real estate investments to investors, we have a report that you can get on how to select the best metro and product to invest in. And also, if you would like to have some consulting time on what to do about investing, welcome to give us an inquiry and you can get a free consultation on that. And we always welcome your questions and suggestions for guests and topics on the program. Today we have back in our studio Richard Crouch, who's a real estate agent with Alon Pinnell Realtors Extraordinaire and investment advisor with Transamerica Financial Advisors. And he's a Silicon Valley techie and entrepreneur turned real estate professional, and he uses those analytical skills and his passion for the business of real estate and real estate marketplace to help us analyze and keep track of what's going on in the marketplace, why it's happening, and help you understand that so that you can make better decisions moving forward, whether you're moving from an owner-occupant home into another one, or if you're an investor looking to purchase and trying to decide out when's the best timing and where to do it. All of the that subject and topics will be covered here today. So, Richard, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Tom.
Always great to have you.
It's great to be here.
And today we're going to cover a number of topics about looking a little bit at the paradigms and the philosophical reasons why people buy and sell so that we can understand how that drives the marketplace so we can predict it a little bit more rather than just react.
Exactly. And I wanted to break, it's kind of breaking things into two parts. One is fundamentally, why do we buy a home? At the same time, on everyone's mind is what kind of an investment is that home going to be, or how much is it going to cost me if I do it now, do it later, which is just as important, but ultimately the reason you buy a home is number one for sure, okay? So let's talk about...
Even though Robert Kiyosaki, whom I highly respect, has always kind of promoted the paradigm that a home should not be thought of as your investment. And these, especially high-end cities in the United States, whether you do it intentionally or not, a lot of equity can get built up in your own home. And that isn't to say that it isn't an acceptable alternate strategy or additional strategy to go invest in other real estate just for investment purposes. But real estate certainly has a major impact and can have in your retirement future and your financial well-being. So whether it's for investment or for yourself, all of these factors apply.
Absolutely, and you certainly don't have to apologize for buying more houses than the one you live in.
No.
So let's talk about what are the very basic reasons. I think this will all be familiar to you, but I think for all of us, reviewing this list is an important thing. It's almost like read this once a month to yourself, just to keep priorities straight. So the top reasons why people buy homes and investors, because the investment properties are going to have other families living in them, right? So first and foremost, they want to have a good place to raise children. They want a place where their family feels safe. They want more living space. They want control of that living space. And they realize that owning makes better financial sense than does renting. So there you have it. And here in Silicon Valley, for example, there's a tremendous number of people who've come to this country, immigrated here, who are living in small condos and townhomes, and that was their point of entry into this country. It made sense. Communities that are homogenous, that they could relate to people that they were living near. But without doubt, I've seen a strong indication in the last 6 months that Silicon Valley buyers, engineers, programmers, software, as well as service people and business people want to escape that town home with a small patio and get into a home with a large yard their children can play in and have more room, be able to entertain, and not be crowded. We often joke about when we have a husband and wife looking for a house, that we want to make sure the man gets a man cave. I mean, let's face it, the kitchen is kind of the woman cave, right? But a man needs his little place he can go hide out, especially with children. So that usually is the biggest factor when a house is too small.
Certainly popular headline topics in the recent years about boomer changes is the scale down and more people want smaller homes, but we often forget at the other end there's still a lot of folks, whether it be immigrants or folks coming from a low income to higher incomes, whether they're moving from student up or immigrant up, that those folks are looking for more square feet. So I think there's a increasing demand for that kind of middle ground sector.
Well, there absolutely is, Tom, and I think that it's good that you mentioned it at this point because the baby boomer is the biggest single demographic on the planet, really, or in this country. Okay, 76 million baby boomers are being created as we talk,
and many other countries as well, as I've seen the stats.
Right, absolutely. And I think that it's important not to lose sight of the fact that everybody should be thinking about their buying the home from the time they're in their 20s all the way up until they approach retirement age. And certainly for baby boomers, it's all about downsizing, right-sizing, fifth-wheeling, if you will, going to where their children and their grandchildren are. You hear stories right and left about somebody living in a mansion on the hill, successful career, ready for retirement. They're not going to stay in that house. They're going to sell it, and they're going to go buy something, and hopefully maybe a house in each city that their 3 children live in, right?
Yep, I've seen it. I have friends who have done that.
Yeah.
They're still doing it.
So that's a reality. So there's a lot of turnover in real estate in the baby boomer, lots of opportunities for investors to buy the properties that they're selling. In many cases, there'll be rental income properties, for example. And it's a very, very lucrative area, but we don't want to lose sight of people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, for sure.
Yep.
Now, let's talk about the cost of a home last year, this year, and next year. And this can be a little bit on the sobering side, you might say. So last year, the median price home in the country was selling at $187,800. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage was at 3.5%. Here's what it would cost to buy a home last year under those circumstances. The price, $187,800. $37,000 in down payment, a mortgage of $150,000, again an interest rate of 3.5%. The monthly payment, principal and interest, $674. Just try to remember that number, $674. Today, the median price has risen to $213,500, which means now you have to put down $42,700, about $5K more. The mortgage is going to be about $20,000 more at $170,000. The interest rate 4.5 compared to 3.5, and now that payment $865, which is just about $200 more than it was last year per month.
And if you look at affordability indexes, as Bruce Norris, of a real estate timing expert from Southern Cal, often demonstrates, is that the affordability index is a very important index to watch, because it often is a leading indicator of when prices come up or down. So what you're relating there is the affordability index is starting to come down. But when we
That's
were,
right.
But it's still long way from the trigger point of things topping out. Historically, it's been 17% to even this last time down to 12% before things started to fall, and then as things crashed here in the past few years, we got up very high in the 50-60% neighborhood. So it's coming down, but it's still relatively healthy.
Right, exactly. So let's talk about next year. Generally speaking, between Fannie Mae, Mortgage Bankers Association, Freddie Mac, they are looking at about a 5% appreciation in the next year, okay? So what that means is now the price is $224,000, the amount of money down $44,800, down up $2,000 more. The mortgage goes from $170 to $179. The interest rate will go from 4.5 to 5, and the payment per month $962, another $100 up. So in summary, $674 last year, $865 this year, and next year $962 for that principal and interest. So it will get more expensive to buy if you wait.
Yep.
And if you sell, you have less buyers ready to buy.
Mm-hmm. So that really indicates that if someone's on the fence, either buyer or seller, it just doesn't make sense to wait.
Right, exactly. Definitely not.
Yeah. We have in studio with us today Richard Crouch from Milan Pinnell Realtors and investment advisor with Transamerica Financial Advisors, helping us to take a look at what's happening in this marketplace and what kind of changes we're seeing and what you should do about it in order to make the most of that situation. This is Tom Wilson with KDOW AM 1220, the Real Estate 360 program, the Wall Street Business Network radio station, and we'll be back with you to talk some more about our real estate market in just a moment.
For more information on today's program, visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. Welcome back to Real Estate 360, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. Again, your host for today's edition of RE360 Radio, Tom K. Wilson.
Welcome back. We have Richard Crouch with us in the studio today. Milan Pinnell, top agent and Transamerica Financial Advisors investment advisor, who is talking to us about what's going on in the marketplace, and both nationwide and local, and what you should do about it. So, Richard, let's continue here. We're kind of talking about different sectors of the marketplace as far as the buyers and sellers go, and how they differ, and why you should know something about it, because it may impact the neighborhood of where you're going to invest in or where you're going to buy for yourself. And we were talking before about boomers, and their impact and why people buy in general, and let's talk about the higher end buyers, how they affect things.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about this, Tom, is the fact that wealthy buyers have always been perceived to be building a castle on a hill and looking down on everybody else. You know, I think it's going to be refreshing for most of us who are not maybe in that wealthy category to know that the wealthy really realize that sometimes less is more. And very specifically, the trends of what's happening with the wealthy now in terms of homes that they want to buy. Outdoor kitchens, warming drawers, homes controlled with a touch of an iPad. Indeed, luxury buyers are abandoning mega mansions for smaller homes with cutting-edge technologies, the latest and greatest creature comforts. 90% of these home buyers wouldn't even consider living in a home that isn't tech-friendly. And this goes well beyond internet and cable ready. Rather, they want the ability to manage their homes remotely, including controlling the climate, lighting, garage, or security systems through their mobile devices. And there's applications for that. Keyless entry is also important. Of course, everyone wants a spacious, functional kitchen, and we don't want to minimize the importance. It's the single most important room in a home, without a doubt, especially for the ladies who do the majority of the cooking. But buyers,
and in spite of the claims by the guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
In spite of the claims. I mean, I do a great job on chicken and steak and stuff like that, you know. But luxury buyers, they want a kitchen outside also, okay? And that does favor the dads actually being more in charge of the outside portion of it.
You know, except for the outdoor kitchen, that kind of paradigm of type of home kind of makes me think a little bit of Japan at the other extreme. You know, they've had always had very limited real estate, but by golly, from a long time ago, their homes have always been a showcase of technology, conveniences, quality. So
yes.
maybe it's a little bit of a trend in that direction. Huh?
Yeah, I think it is. And by the way, nearly half of wealthy buyers said that they want that outside kitchen. Half, which is pretty amazing. 50% want an outdoor fireplace and fire pit, as well as a climate-controlled wine cooler, warming drawer.
And Richard, is this nationwide?
Yeah, this is nationwide, okay? And then wealthy buyers are willing to downsize to get these features, which is a new development, and brings them closer to the average homeowner.
Yeah, that's an interesting trade-off, isn't it? Willing to take less square feet to get these conveniences.
And it was all about size in the past. My home is bigger than yours, but now the trend is today it's all about what's inside. So they're willing to give up 1,000 square feet of living space in exchange for living in a better neighborhood and living in a house with character, looking for more land, access to dining and entertainment, and a shorter commute. So this brings all of us a little closer together, all the demographics, I think, in terms of buyers.
That's interesting. So one of the takeaways I get from that as well is if you're prepping your home for sale and you're considering what to do, it's probably a lot more valuable to add in some of these conveniences and upgrade the electronics and that sort of thing than it is to maybe add an extra room at the back or go redesign something in the back of the house.
Exactly, and this is where certainly a real estate professional and other close advisors that you have can help you determine exactly the right mix in that regard.
And some of these factors, maybe on a more limited or lower budget scale, might make investment properties, attractive as well.
Yeah, very much so.
That's very interesting. We have Richard Crouch with us today from Lompinell Realtors and Transamerica Financial Advisors. We'll be back in just a moment to continue talking about the current market on AM 1220 KDOW, the Wall Street Business Network. We'll be right back.
For more information on today's program, visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. Welcome back to Real Estate 360, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. Again, your host for today's edition of RE360 Radio, Tom K. Wilson.
Welcome back. Richard Kraut's in the studio with us today, a regular guest who's certainly a extraordinarily educated person on the marketplace, what's going on with it. He's with Alon Pinnell Realtors, top agent there, and he's also an investment advisor at Transamerica Financial Advisors. And we're talking about today trying to break down the marketplace a little bit into different kinds of buyers and what kinds of demands that they put on the marketplace and how we should understand that to make our decisions. So we've talked about the general buyer, what they're looking for. We've talked about baby boomers and their impact on things. We've talked about the wealthy sector that wants to scale down, wants to live near their kids. They want a lot of technology and conveniences in the home. And then there's another sector that maybe doesn't affect Columbus, Ohio as much as it does maybe southern states and maybe the West, but that is certainly the Latino market, which is not only large but increasingly growing. So what can you tell us about that market, what's happening?
Tom, it really is growing, and we actually talked about it in general, maybe one of the more recent shows overall in general. But today, I have an interesting little tidbit here on Latinas, which is obviously the female half of a couple in the Hispanic market in this country. First of all, Latinas are outpacing Latino males in their educational pursuits and career development, and for the first time exceeded non-Hispanic females in college enrollment. I mean, this is a very positive thing. The female Hispanic has always been, I think, one of the most important members of the family. And they're taking the opportunity to do more, to advance their families and working with their husbands, obviously. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Just a little demographics here. A record 7 in 10, or 73%, Hispanic high school female graduates are enrolling in college. This is how the number compares to other groups. 11 percentage points ahead of Hispanic males at 61%. 1 percentage point higher than non-Hispanic females, 72%. Latinos in households making $75,000 are also increased by 5% in the last 10 years, regardless of the recession. And over the last 10 years, household income for Latinas 18 years of age and older has also risen to out of the lowest income category and is holding position in other income groups among blue and pink collar segments. So there's a little more information on this. We'll finish up next segment, but okay.
We got a little bit more on this.
We got a little bit more. Okay. Well, from 2003 to 2013, household income with Hispanics less than $25K has increased by 27% in that category. $75,000 for the family has gone from 16% to 21%. So the Hispanics are indeed increasing their wealth.
Yes, yes. And certainly going to continue to have a significant impact on the marketplace. And of course that varies by community, depending on what community that you're considering investing in or moving into. But definitely a significantly growing sector that we need to be continuing to watch. So we'll be back in a moment to talk about the investor portion and the boomerang home buyers effect in the marketplace and its new demand. This is Tom Wilson with Real Estate 360, AM 1220 KDOW on the Wall Street Business Network. We'll be back with you in just a moment.
For more information on today's program, visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. Welcome back to Real Estate 360, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. Again, your host for today's edition of RE360 Radio, Tom K. Wilson.
Welcome back. We have Richard Crouch with us in the studio today, talking about the different kinds of buyers and how they're going to impact the marketplace. So, Richard, let's talk now. You've talked about the Latino group, and let's talk about the folks that got foreclosed on before and the boomerang effect of home buyers coming back in the market.
Yeah, and those being foreclosed, but also those who sold a short sale.
Mm-hmm,
okay.
True. Yep.
All of whom, for example, with a foreclosure, it was 7 years. You can't get credit for 7 years after a foreclosure. In the case of a short sale, it was between 3 to 4 years. And the guidelines were always changing, and banks were making it worse rather than getting it better, which was very, very annoying. What's now recently just been announced, which is encouraging, is what you just referred to as the boomerang home buyer, meaning that the home buyer who's been out of the home buying business for a while, for reasons, in most cases, not due to their own misdeeds. There's the basic mismanagement of our country's financial wealth, if you will, and health, I should say. So what's happening is it is now turning out that for those who were foreclosed upon, who were in a short sale, with other extenuating circumstances, basically can now buy in as short a time as 12 months, okay? Now, this is a fairly complex topic. We're happy to help people understand it better. Contact us to do so. But just let me say this, that, extenuating circumstances are a factor. Demonstrated cure is a factor. And eligibility requirements by documenting loss of income is a factor. But the fact of the matter is, if you're thinking now that it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years before you can buy a home, that has probably changed if you've managed your own situation as best you can since that time.
Okay, good to know. Now we're going to talk for just a moment about the sector of buyers that we haven't discussed yet, and that is the investors. It turns out we still have about 40%, only 40% of the folks that are selling or have lost their home are able to or intend to repurchase a home. Now, those stats don't apply to higher end areas that we've covered, like Silicon Valley and so forth, but those are nationwide numbers. So it remains true that a large number of homes are still being absorbed by investors who recognize that we're probably going to have inflation, and that rental property is a good hedge against that inflation, and it's a good asset to produce income toward retirement. So the difficulty is that there's still fairly limited supply, even though we've seen that it's gone up in some areas. It's still fairly limited. So it's very important to pick the right metro and pick the right product, and to get people who are experts in that area, professionals who are experts, to assist you in finding those best products. For example, Wilson Investment Properties in the last 3 years, in order to get the best products in this limited inventory market, has had to make bids on 40 properties for every one that they've won for our clients. So you don't want to go walking into a town and try to find a random agent to say, go make 40 bids on each property you want to get a professional team. So, and that turnkey provider was going to get you the professional team for insurance and lenders and title company and inspectors and all those folks. That's very important. And if you're interested in getting a property for yourself, selling or buying, it's also just as important to get a real estate agent and team of professionals that agent can point you to and assemble to who really understands that marketplace and can help you get the best value. So so that applies as well. You have some other points there, Richard, on that note?
Well, I think that just what we talked about, the boomerang home buyer, is actually a good thing for everybody, because it means there are going to be more home buyers. That's going to encourage more sellers. That's going to create more investment opportunities.
Yep.
So they're really shoring up the low end, the people who are hurt the most. And I think I've always said that we empower those who want to work hard and deserve a break. If we do that, nobody can touch us.
Yep.
And this is a good example of what's happening.
You have some other points to bring out about assembling, finding the right agent or turnkey provider?
Yeah, I mean, there's just time to talk about a few in this segment and maybe wrap up one or two afterwards. There are 10 top reasons for hiring a real estate agent: education and experience, neighborhood knowledge, professional networking, handling of volumes of paperwork. Agents are a buffer you from the difficulties and the complicated situations in buying and selling real estate. They provide price guidance, very important. Market conditions information, critical to determining whether you're going to buy or if you're going to sell, how hard is it going to be. And then probably the single most important, negotiation skills and confidentiality. And then there's actually after closing. There's a lot that happens after closing of a sale relationship with an agent. So just as you would have a CPA, just as you would have an attorney, your trusted advisor should absolutely have a real estate professional because it is a complex market. It's never a simple market. And it may ebb and flow in that regard, but always you'll need somebody that is good at what they do in helping you win with real estate.
Absolutely. And what we do with our investment properties that we provide to investors, we make sure that all the professionals that are involved are ones that are very experienced in that particular unique sector, in this case investment. So our insurance people and lenders and so forth are all experts who work predominantly or exclusively with investors. And again, if you're find a home for yourself, you want to find an agent and their team that knows that marketplace and is very experienced and is full-time. It's very, very critical. We'll be back in just a moment to wrap up on AM 1220 KDOW, the Wall Street Business Network. This is Tom Wilson on Real Estate 360.
For more information on today's program, visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. Welcome back to Real Estate 360, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. Again, your host for today's edition of RE360 Radio, Tom K. Wilson.
Welcome back. It's been great today having back on the program our frequent guest, Richard Crouch, with Lon Pinnell Realtors and investment advisor, Transamerica Financial Advisors, helping us to understand and dissect the marketplace. We've talked to this program a lot about the demand side of the equation and how there's so many different kinds of buyers and how important they are in affecting the marketplace, and how you have to understand which of those sectors are in the marketplace that you're considering and what impact it has and how you need to make different decisions. For example, the fact that boomers are downsizing, moving around to where the children are. People still who maybe aren't retiring still have children. They're looking for places to raise families. They're looking for places with good education. that certainly affects neighborhoods a lot, and where people choose and desire to move. And we certainly have the wealthy buyer who maybe is changing their profile a little bit. They're more willing to move to a smaller home and get more conveniences, modern conveniences, electronics, outdoor kitchens, things like that. And the investor market, who's looking for a stable rental market and wants to have neighborhoods that have low crime and so forth. And in all of those, in any of those areas, it's very important, whether you're buying investment property or property for yourself. It's very important to get a professional team with you. Either get an agent who knows that particular neighborhood. If you're buying it for yourself, get a turnkey provider like Wilson Investment Properties that knows that marketplace that they specialize in extremely well and has all the professionals in place that can do a very good job for you. So, Rich, if they want more information from you, how can they reach you?
Well, we're in Silicon Valley, and that's the area that we specialize in. And our website is Candace. Sorry, I should mention my wife first. She is my wife.
Uh-oh, Freudian.
Designs all the homes that we rehab and everything. But Richard and Candace, that's and.com. Just Richard and Candace, Kandis. A lot of good stuff on the website, all our contact information. I would be most happy to help you in any way, no matter where you are in the Bay Area.
Thank you, Richard. And for more information about economics in general as it affects real estate, go to TomWilsonProperties.com and sign up for that newsletter and get a report on how to choose a best metro and product to invest in. If you'd like some consultation on real estate investing, please let us know about that, and we'll be glad to set up a time that is convenient for you. So again, we've had Richard Crouch with us today, studying the demand side of the real estate market economics. It's always good to have him with us. We again go to TomWilsonProperties.com for our other shows and programs. Tune in to Real Estate 360 for our other shows Monday through Friday. And we look forward to having you back with us here and for our next program. And remember that the only thing that matters is what you do next.
You've been listening to Real Estate 360 on AM 1220 KDOW. For more information on today's program, visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. AM 1220 KDOW.